Hello and welcome back. Today we started a new event, and this one's called Deadeye Overdrive. And what this does is plus 60% headshot damage, plus 30% weapon damage, plus 40% accuracy, plus 40% stability, and of course plus 40% weak point damage. So this is active for 4 days. As you've seen, it just started. Take advantage of Hollywood and Deadeye Overdrive. So this weekend is going to be fun with some extra damage and accuracy and all that good stuff. There has been a interview by the gaming interview. So there has been an interview about Division 3, info about that, and all the other goody stuff that's coming to Division 2. So the channel is Gaming Interview. Go check them out. And they had Julian Garrity on it. He is a executive producer for Division's brand. Yeah, they pretty much he pretty much reconfirmed that they are working on Division 3. So there's some good news to hear about Division 3. So not a bad day today. Not a bad day. I will play the interview, and I will link the gamer interview channel in the description. So check them out. Little new news on the channel. I have created a second account. I know I've been getting a lot of comments about people talking about expertise, so I basically created a second account. Pretty much going to do a noob playthrough to show people how to progress through the game. You know, get their expertise up, get their everything you need to know about the game. You know, pretty much a guide. So I'm going to upload some videos on my second account. It's going to be on this YouTube, so don't worry about that. You don't have to jump YouTube.
Agent in need of backup.
But I'll see y'all next time.
I'm Julian Garrity. I'm the executive producer on Tom Clancy's The Division. I've been at Ubisoft for 26 years. The last 15 or 16, I've been a creative director. So I feel like a fraud as a executive producer, but it's really interesting. So as a creative director, of course, I worked on Division 1, Division 2, and Star Wars Outlaws. But now, I have an overview of all things Division. And that's where my heart is, which is video games, but it's outside of video games as well, with comic books and stuff like that. All the adaptations inside and outside video game.
And 26 years, industry veteran, I think is an appropriate term.
26 years. I joined Ubisoft when I was 7 years old. So, I'm kidding. It's been a while. It's more than half of my life. Honestly, best job ever. It's the most thrilling industry. Every 5 years, you have this leap of technology. You have games that change constantly. It keeps you thinking. It keeps you fresh. It keeps you dynamic, and you get to make stuff with your friends. So that's incredibly important to me.
And what led off into your time with Ubisoft? You've been there for a while, but what was your first entry point, if I may ask?
Okay, so first thing I ever did was to build financial analysis Excel tables to help us predict and build a business forecast for different titles that Ubisoft was building. So I was in charge of consumer insights within a strategic marketing department. So it really allowed me to get to grips with what people were buying, what people were excited by, what platforms were doing. Xbox wasn't a thing back then. It was about to launch. So lots and lots of really great data points. And obviously, at the heart of all of this, a real passion as a gamer. And I started playing games in 1981. Now, I can confidently say that's last century. And it's, picture this. I had 1K of RAM. And the magicians that were making games on machines that had sometimes up to 16K, but one of my favorite games was called 3D Monster Maze. And check it out. There's videos of it on YouTube. It's a corridor, it's a first-person game, and you come across dinosaurs. When I was playing this in my bedroom in 1981, it felt like Jurassic Park. It sounds like a joke now, but that was so vivid to me. And I fell in love then. And then you realize that actually these are jobs and people can contribute to the industry and build projects together. So, you know, I've been involved with a bunch of Tom Clancy games, Star Wars. It's been such a thrilling ride so far.
Well, I think there's no better person to ask than what would you see as some of the core defining moments of the Division as a franchise over that period of time?
It's funny because I'm going to give you an answer which is very much linked to the development process. So I think core moment for Division 1 is 2013, when the first playable was shown to the world. When the game was announced, there was that moment where there was this hyper photorealistic cinematic vision of a pandemic-stricken New York that captured everybody's imagination. I was at E3 in LA when we still had a trade industry show in Los Angeles, and everybody on the show floor was talking about this game. And that was a key moment for the franchise. That was absolutely one of those lightning in a bottle moments where everybody's eyes are on that thing. I think the launch day of Division 1, when we were in, it's called the War Room, but what it was a, office space with 4 screens on the wall and like 20 developers in front of it. When we pressed that button to allow people into the game, and we started seeing like these points flash up all around the world, France, Sweden, Germany, the US, Mexico. We started seeing player counts start to bump up, and it was the numbers couldn't keep up. And we were like, yes. And then we were like, oh my gosh, this means so much more work. and just those moments of connection, of joy, not only with the dev team, but with the community, incredibly important moments. So that's Division 1. Division 2 was very much the same thing. We went to E3 with a playable demo that we worked so hard on, and we showed it to everybody. Kojima came around. All of these industry superstars came around, and we were able to show the work that we'd done in a very short amount of time. That was phenomenal. And I think, very recently, we released a DLC on Division 2. 7 years after the launch, Battle for Brooklyn. Day 1 of Battle for Brooklyn, this DLC, we had 500,000 DAU players jump back into the game. That is phenomenal.
Crazy.
And that brings us so much joy to see so much activity. And people have a lot of feedback, and the community has a lot of feedback for us, and we need to listen to that. We need to take notes, and that's the charm of a live game, is that there's always something that we can improve, revise, but we also have this absolute task to keep on surprising and delighting people. So if we can surprise with a DLC 7 years down the line, phenomenal. And that, brings us even to Survivors, which is yet another surprise 8 years down the line of something brand new.
And you speak a lot about that community, and to have those kind of numbers has to feel so rewarding, but it's also something you don't want to take for granted. How have you guys used that fan feedback has it changed the direction, or has it helped shape the vision at all of the Division?
Absolutely. There's no doubt that there's constant dialogue with members of the community. We have a special, community group called the Elite Task Force. We have Discord with them. There's a lot of pre-release stuff shared with them. We're going to have a big session where we're going to bring these community members to Sweden, because we're based in the darkest area of the world in Sweden. It's great. I love it. It's been 12 years, so I really love it. We're going to bring them over here in February for, some pretty cool, pretty exclusive stuff. It'll be, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I am, because I'm the executive producer. So I've only got myself to blame at the end of the day, but they'll be playable of things that we've announced, and maybe even things that we haven't announced. So we're really going to extract as much feedback as possible from these very precious members of the community.
And speaking of newest things, obviously part of the big reason why we're here talking, can you describe Survivors for even those who maybe aren't involved with the Division franchise? What is Survivors to you?
So Division 1, we had 3 DLCs. We had one that was focused on replayable dungeons called Underground. We had one which was PvP focused called Last Stand. And we had the fan favorite, which was Survival. And Survival was, before it was even a word, it was an extraction shooter.
I was going to say, you guys really beat the wave here we've seen now.
I mean, if I hear one single person in the chat saying that Ubisoft only chases trends, I'm going to be disappointed, because this was before it was even a thing. And it became such a strong fan favorite. And the concept behind it was New York City, ravaged by a snowstorm. You're lost in the blizzard. You need to get to the heart of the map to be able to extract. And there's NPCs in the world, but also other players. And the other players, they can be friends, but they can also be a real competition. So PvE, but with a PvP, a typical PvP. Very, very exciting. It's something that people still play today. Next week, this is December when we're talking, but next week in December, we're doing a survival fest where we're partnering with the community to just play Division 1 and to get some runs in, to get the excitement for survival. And of course, that leads us to Survivors. So what are we doing? Like, we can't rest on our laurels, our 10-year-old laurels from Survival. So we're reimagining it. We're bringing this snowstorm, this weather change to Washington, D.C. And that's something that you've never seen in Washington, D.C. We're going to transform the entire map. We're thinking about it in a very different way, with innovations that haven't been seen yet. I can't talk about them today because we have a long communication thing, but there's a focus on this to make it such a different feeling experience from the core Division 2 experience. And I played it this week. We had our 3rd playable build. It's really shaping up. So it'll take the time that it takes, but I think we've got something super, super promising here.
And I know you said you got to keep it limited, but are there any details people can know, how Survivors keeps the core to Division 2, but also still expands upon the original version? Can you give me anything there?
I think there are a couple of things here that I'm really happy about. Survivors is developed with Magnus Jensen, who is the original Division 1 creative director. So this is a guy who lives and breathes the Division. He's so excited about jumping into this type of game mode again. And he knows the community. He knows the audience. He knows the gameplay. And there is a hint in the title of something that we're going to be doing really differently from everybody else.
Well, what do you think this might offer veteran players, or Do you think this might catch the eye because of the genre, extraction shooter? Do you think this might catch the eye of some newcomers that stumble across it? What do you think it offers players like that?
It's a really good question, because we always develop with a player in mind, with player types in mind. And I think here we have to acknowledge that the Division 2 has a large player base of passionate gamers. And one of the things that we want to do is really lean into the sort of comfort game of the Division 2. People are happy to jump in, know their way around the controller, know their way around the map. They know how to play this game. So we're going to take that and subvert it a little bit and change the map and make sure that the weather has an impact on you, which it doesn't have in Division 2. So there are lots of little things that we're doing to surprise our core audience. Veteran players, they're going to be surprised. All of these locations that they know by heart, they're going to be transformed. New players, there'll never be a better time to jump into the Division 2.
We've seen the rise of recent extraction shooters. I think Arc Raiders goes, without needing mention. And we've already mentioned you guys are expanding upon an original version of this. But when we take a look at these more modern versions that have really taken off, are you guys at all taking inspiration from current existing games of that genre? Or are you simply trying to expand upon your original version with your own ideas? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think we're always focused on how do we build on what we have and surprise ourselves. The industry moves so fast that if we take inspiration from this game or that game, that's really chasing trends. So we're really focused on how do we take what we did 10 years ago in survival, adapt that to the Division 2, adapt that to Washington, D.C., adapt it to a new audience, but also bring some brand new things that have really never been seen before.
Last question around Survivors. What's your big pitch for anyone? I mean, I'm sure people are going to play regardless, but what's your big pitch on what makes this so unique and so fun?
I think if you imagine a real world location, the most important city in the United States, Washington, D.C., completely ravaged by a pandemic and struck by the strongest, worst blizzard of all time. And you are going to have to survive and extract the most valuable resources.
I knew going into this before we talked, I knew you were a really good storyteller. I had a feeling that every time you talk, I can picture it. I think that was great, man. Some people, you talk to some people a bit more, reserved, and you said you were, but I'm not buying it. I knew I was going to get a good description.
That's very kind. Do you play the Division?
I'm all the way back to the original. Have not played the in between, and I'm a big college buddy watcher of a lot of these Prime games. So definitely will be hopping back in around this time.
Listen, I can comfortably guarantee that if you jump in the Division 2 today, you're going to have a blast. The core loop, the core combat is so satisfying that if you don't like it, I'll refund it.
I'm going to clip that. I'm going to clip that right there. Anyway, though, closing questions, more so tailored to the franchise and what we've heard about as well before. The Division 3 is obviously going to be widely talked about, being confirmed. Can you give us any insights there, or can you even speak to what it takes to make a decision of okay, we are ready for a sequel, or we're at least ready to talk about said sequel? When it's such a big franchise, when do those points come to be?
So the Division 3 is in production, right? This is not a secret. It's been announced. It's shaping up to be a monster. I can't really say anything more than that, but this is within these walls in Massive. We are working extremely hard on something that I think will be as big an impact as Division 1 was.
I knew you were going to give me a line. The Division 3 is shaping up to be a monster. That's all I needed.
Perfect.
But you guys are also branched out into mobile though, with things like Resurgence. So what has that been, and what does that also offer you guys? You know, it's got to be, you know, I wouldn't say spreading yourself thin, but to diversify today's market, what's it like to then go into mobile?
You have to keep in mind that these are separate teams, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
the Survivors team, the Division 3 team, the Division 2 team, they're all separate teams. In Resurgence, there's a team in Paris working on this, and they're putting the final touches on a mobile execution of the promise of Division 1. So Division 1, New York, pandemic strikes, take back New York. This is a brand new story with mechanics that are really fine-tuned to a mobile phone. Graphically, this looks like a PS5. You may have seen the adverts for it. It looks phenomenal, really, really good. It plays really good. And it has a few innovations, one of which I hope they've already announced. If they haven't, I'll apologize.
Chris will catch it.
Yeah, but they have this innovation that we've never done. You know, the dark zone. The dark zone in Division 1 was and Division 2 was this area of atypical PvP. It was an area where, much like other games today, popular games today, you could walk around, you could hear gunshots, go over there, there'd be another agent. You'd approach cautiously, feel each other out, and decide whether to partner or to actually engage in PvP. Now, the whole of the Resurgence map is friendly to other agents. So you'll hear gunshots on a corner. You won't need to be in the dark zone. It could be anywhere, and you can group with those people. So PvP is off by default, but being able to group up and to see other agents in the streets, that's never been done in a Division game before, let alone a mobile game. So these guys are wizards. I don't know how they did it, but real wizards.
And speaking of the title, whether or no matter the platform, no matter the sequel, prequel, whatever it is, what do you think needs to remain unchanged for that core of the Division to remain as is?
That's pretty much my job at the moment, is to define those things. So I love this question because it's my comfort zone. I think when you close your eyes, you need to think of a brand, any brand that you love, and be able to define it with a few certain pillars that are exclusive to this brand. And for the Division, it's really 3 concepts that flashed up on that first gameplay trailer in 2013. Open world, online, RPG. When you think of those 3 things and you add little definitions to it, open world, these are real world locations. We're not going to made up fancy locations. This is Washington, D.C. recreated 1-to-1. You get to know Washington, D.C. in Division 2, you know Washington, D.C. in the real world. So real world, open world locations. Online, this is fundamentally a co-op focused game. Every single mission, every single challenge you can do as a co-op experience. Multiplayer in the dark zone, PvP in the dark zone, but everything else is very much focused with co-op in mind. We're not making our lives easier with these pillars, by the way. So open world, online, and it's an RPG. There's a depth here. There's a live connotation to it that means that people can play for 40 hours. They can play for 2,000 hours. There's a lot of depth that you can really explore by yourself or with your friends. And that's those 3 pillars put together. I can't think of any other game that does it. That's what makes us really stand out.
Last one for you as well. I don't get the chance to talk to 30-year vets dang near as much. What have you seen change in this space that you are most excited for?
What have I seen? You know, this is going to be a controversial answer, but when I see games like Genshin Impact that's break down walls for people to jump in and play with their friends, that really excites me. It's just in terms of experience, being able to see, a group of my daughter's friends sit down on a couch. One is playing on PS5, one is playing on their phone, another is on an iPad, and being able to play together with no barriers of monetization or, a $50, $60, $70 price tag. That really, as an innovation, I think that's fantastic. That really gets people on the couch again, talking again, playing again.
That is not you're right. That's not the answer I expected from you. I know I kind of wild card there, but I'm sure you could give plenty of answers.
I can think of
you could probably think of
other
20.
answers, but this one is the one where recently I've been really impressed by that work. I think it's a remarkable achievement.